people were racist over Asians. Now they can't be because if they're racist over Asians,
I don't know if that's like really solving racism, honestly. Welcome to YouTube's favorite K-pop show, Dkdktv.
David.
Lots of
hot ass tea.
First off, Red Velvet is coming back.
Wow.
Sooner than expected, and also NCT is going to Africa. Second, we have the list of trainees that were cheated out of the debut groups of Produce 101.
Last but not least, BTS has come back again. They are getting awards in the AMAs, and also they made a huge change for the future of K-pop and their hubes.
On to the first news. Okay, Red Velvet might be coming back very soon, and also NCT might be going to Africa. Lee Sung-soo, the CEO of SM Entertainment, reveals some of SM Entertainment's future plans at a startup festival on November 21st. He stated that all SM artists will be connected through SM Culture Universe. Now, SM has been talking about this for a very long time, and they've recently kicked it off with aespa. Actually, did you listen to the NCT track that was released yesterday?
Oh, the hockey one?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Actually, in that track, they also have some of that universe.
Connections?
Kwangya. They have Kwangya. They're part of that universe.
Okay.
And
the
now,
desert universe.
Boa is coming out in December, coming back.
Okay.
And
she's going to be in the desert too?
She's part of that universe too, apparently, because she was part of the aespa music video, right? She was at the very end. Well, everybody's part of this SMCU. Now, almost all Korean netizens seem to be responding very negatively towards the SMCU concept. From reading the comments on the coup of popular K-pop community, people feel SM is trying to twist the artist's work too much, trying to fit, into the universe, because like Boa, she's been around for freaking 20 years, and now she's suddenly part of this new universe.
She's Captain Marvel.
It's kind of weird, so they see it more of a comedic thing more than anything. Arguably, the more interesting part of the speech that the CEO gave was when he talked about NCT's future. He stated that Southeast Asia, America, Europe, Australia, and Africa are part of NCT's expansion plans. He also added that a very big NCT team is to debut next year.
Wait, another one?
Lee Sung-soo also acknowledged Red Velvet's controversy over Irene. If you don't know about it, I suggest you watch this video above. He stated that there was a slight controversy with Red Velvet, but SM Entertainment has sincerely apologized, and Red Velvet will come back again soon. Now, reading the responses on the coup, many seem to think that SM was brushing off the controversy too lightly by saying it was a slight controversy.
The company's way of thinking was reflected in Irene's actions. If SM educated idols on being human, 인성교육, then there wouldn't been such a controversy. They're at a loss even if they keep their mouth shut. Unbelievable that they're brushing it off.
So let's go one by one.
Okay.
So first of all, what do you think about the SMCU?
I don't know why they're trying to follow Marvel or something. Like, Big Hit has their BU and stuff, and all of these companies seem to be trying to replicate that kind of thing, that kind of universe, world concept, connection, and stuff like that. But
I mean, SM has been trying universe stuff for a long time with EXO.
Yeah, but it hasn't been like, transcending through groups and stuff.
No.
It's only been like a group with their own concept, a group with their own concept. But now they're trying to, connect it through deserts or whatever. If you're gonna do that, it should have been planned in the first hand. Like right now, after all these groups are established, for example, BoA, EXO, NCT, they're totally different. They have totally different characters. Just putting them in a universe suddenly, like just categorizing like that,
kind of weird.
It just lacks that integrity. And also, I think the main reason they're doing this SMCU or SMU or whatever is they're trying to get more money.
Of course.
They're trying to earn more money.
I think it's very, very restrictive on the artist, because once you become part of this universe, then now, like, all your work, a lot of your work has to revolve around this universe, and I think that restricts the artist's creative freedom a lot.
Yeah.
Part of me actually doesn't even like the universes that the artists do themselves. I think that's also very restrictive on them, and I think that's part of the reason why BTS, in their music at least, they don't really do the universe stuff as much as they used to. A lot of times what will happen is the story will unfold very slowly because, music videos, the story videos, they can only come out every so often.
Yeah.
But these artists, they grow, they mature, and the story can't catch up with them. They're still little boys in the story, but they're full-ass grown men. So I think that's very restrictive on the artist to begin with. So I'm not a fan of all these K-pop groups coming out with universes, and I think that's a very big hurdle that is being made for casual listeners who just want to enjoy good music. So personally, what I would like to see from K-pop artists is maybe they can have concept albums where they finish a story, within an album or within a series of albums, but don't carry it over to the next series of albums. I would much appreciate that approach than to have this continuous story that is very half-assed and just lags on until the end of their careers. Irene's controversy, what do you think? Do you think it's too early to tease a comeback?
Why do I feel like that's just like assuring fans that Irene is not going to leave? I mean, soon could mean any time. Like it could be 3 months, it could be 6 months. He was just trying to reassure people and fans that Irene isn't leaving.
Right.
I think that's the right thing to do. Like Irene apologized. And
I don't think Irene should leave, but at the same time, I also feel like this isn't the right time to bring it up.
Wait, what was the setting of this?
It was at a random ass startup festival.
Oh, really? Okay.
And like this guy comes up and says, "Oh, by the way, Red Velvet's coming back."
Maybe like he was thinking, "Oh, this random ass startup festival isn't that important."
Oh,
so
no
maybe
one will give a shit.
Yeah, I'll just like slip it here, and then later on, I told her come back.
On to the next news. Report reveals that Produce 101 trainees that were cheated out of the debut group. So on November 18th, Produce 101's producer Kim Yong-bum was sentenced to 20 months in prison for fraud regarding manipulation of Produce 101 votes, and producer An Jun-young was also sentenced to 2 years in prison for the same. This was expected, but what drew the interest of K-pop fans the most was the revealing of the 12 trainees that were supposed to be in the debut group but failed to make it due to vote manipulation. Here's the list. Kim Soo-yeon, Seo Hae-rim from season 1 manipulated in the first votes. Song Yeon-woo manipulated in the first round. Kang Dong-ho manipulated in the fourth round. Season 3, Lee Ga-eun, Han Cho-won manipulated in the fourth round. And season 4, Ang Ja-ru, Didi Mo-dae manipulated in the first round, and Kim Guk-hun, Lee Jin-woo, third round, and Gu Jung-mo, Lee Jin-hyuk, Kim Dong-yeon, fourth round. Kang Dong-ho, Lee Ga-eun, Han Cho-won, Gu Jung-mo, Lee Jin-hyuk, Kim Dong-hyun. These were all trainees that were supposed to debut, but they were left out. I feel really bad for Lee Ga-eun because she was within the debut ranks throughout the entire season. She was within the top 12. And then like literally the very last episode, they manipulated her out.
Oh my god.
And she was left out of IZ*ONE. Now, Mnet stated that they are deeply sorry to the trainees and families, as they should, and said that they're negotiating the compensation for the trainees who were manipulated out. According to the legal experts, the trainees could file a lawsuit and receive much of the profits that they would have made had they been part of the debut groups. Mnet claimed that the entire Produce 101 series has brought in $72 million. With this number, legal experts say that the trainees can expect at least 315,000 USD in compensation, which is, considering it's like 70-something million dollars, that's pretty small, but okay. On top of compensation for breach of contract and damages, they can receive that potential profit that they would have earned. Meanwhile, a lot of the public anger has spread over to IZ*ONE, who have announced their comeback set to release on December 7th, despite the controversy, and it caused mixed reactions. They recently rumored 101 reunion that might have happened at Mama 2020 has now been called off. So that's the status quo at the moment. What do you think of Mnet's decision to forego IZ*ONE's activities?
IZ*ONE, they're now a solid group that has been doing their activities for years now.
Yeah.
And they've planned to come back, and the members are not at fault here. The producers and Mnet are at fault. So I believe the group, they have the right to do their activities and do a comeback or whatever.
I don't know who's right now managing IZ*ONE, but whoever it is, if they actually thought about the artist, I think they would delay the comeback. They know that they're throwing the girls out there into the jungle. People are pissed because of manipulation. And then you think it's a smart thing to do to announce their comeback right now.
But I do think that the public is now smart enough to
No, they're not.
Distinguish.
No,
it's not,
have you seen the
it's not
comments,
IZ*ONE's fault.
I know it's not IZ*ONE's fault. I don't think it's their fault because at the end of the day, if they're trainee, they really have no say in what their company is trying to do behind the doors. But at the same time, like if you're a K-pop label, management, then you know that people will react very negatively to this news.
Well, I don't think it really matters because those people aren't fans in the first place, and those people aren't going to care even if they come back or don't come back. So they're just pure haters. But for the fans that have been waiting for the comeback, I think it's important to, abide to that schedule. So I feel like people will distinguish whose fault it is or not, and it's going to be okay. Like, about the compensation point, they're going to get $315,000
at least
estimated. But do you think that is enough?
This is the calculation that they made based on how much each produced member, the debut member, would have made. So I don't know if that's enough. You can't just calculate the amount of money they made through Produce because what really is the benefit of Produce is you get that publicity, you get that brand recognition. So even after the group, is disbanded, then you still have, your own fame and your own
like 강다니엘,
career.
하성운.
Yeah, exactly. They all made their careers off of 101. That amount of profit you can't really calculate because that at the end of the day, after you graduate from Produce, it's on you.
I don't think it's even enough to pay back their debts for like the training years in their contracts.
No.
It's definitely not going to cover that. So that's just like,
it's like a very small bandage on a very huge
wound.
wound.
I can't even try to understand how much pain or how much
Yeah, it's like fuck. I honestly,
like their lives are almost stolen.
Right. It's not even a matter of money at this point. Like I would feel so salty over every single thing, every single person I see. You've been cheated on the biggest stage, the biggest opportunity of your life. Think of Igaun within the debut ranks throughout the entire season, cheated out the very last second. Like, think of the devastation that she would feel.
Maybe we should get her on our show.
Maybe. Yeah. I mean, I would love to have her,
vent.
but at the same time, I also feel like they would want to protect themselves.
Oh yeah.
Because they're still in the K-pop industry regardless. So even if they get this compensation, even if they get an apology, at the end of the day, Mnet, CJ they're very big companies that will run the K-pop industry.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, they're still under that system, and they still gotta abide by their laws.
Right.
So that's unfortunate, but that's just the reality, I guess.
Next news. So speaking of laws and trying to make it into a better good mood, BTS performs at the AMAs, gets awards, and also makes huge changes in the future of K-pop and their hubes regarding military law.
Yeah.
Wow. So while BTS made their comeback last week with their new album B and the title song Life Goes On, they have already added new awards to their bag. And on November 23rd, BTS attended the 2020 American Music Awards, in short AMAs, as nominees for favorite duo/group, pop rock, and also favorite social artist. Up against many pop stars like the Jonas Brothers, Maroon 5, Billie Eilish, Ariana Grande, they ended up winning both awards. Woo! Congratulations to BTS. I mean, it's not even a surprise they're winning AMAs. They've won it like 4 times already. So
okay, next award.
Wow. Also, they performed Life Goes On the first time on AMAs. So go watch that video.
I was so amazed because they rented out an entire stadium and filled it with army bombs. It was like a BTS concert, and then the AMAs were invited.
Right. It's nothing new that BTS is gaining these awards and spreading positivity to the world, but this time they might have really tangibly, directly benefited their hubes in K-pop.
Oh, what is it?
So last Friday, the National Assembly's Defense Committee approved a bill that they would allow distinguished male pop culture artists to postpone their mandatory military services. Of course, the core reason and catalyst to the consensus on this bill was BTS, specifically Dynamite hitting number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100 chart. People agreed undeniably that BTS, Dynamite, and K-pop contributed in the elevation of South Korea's global reputation. And Chun Yong-gi from the ruling party, who pushed the bill, stated that the military service for K-pop idols are not only taking opportunities, but also impractical in the perspective of South Korea's image growth. To nullify the negative public opinion regarding privileges, he stated that because it is not exemption but just a postponement, it is not a privilege. If this law is to pass in the National Assembly, BTS members will be able to delay their enlistment until the age of 30, and the standards of the law are not definite yet, but according to Chun Yong-gi's interview on a radio show, he stated that they are pushing the standards to be K-pop idols or Korean pop culture stars that have been recommended by the Minister of Culture, Sports, and Tourism, and have the agreement of the head of the Military Manpower Administration. So we got to go through 2 stages here, recommendation and improvement. So specifically for BTS, Jin, who was born in 1992, same as us, had to go within the end of 2021, next year, under current law. But if the new law is to pass, he will be able to delay his enlistment until the end of 2022.
So 1 year extension.
Yeah. On the side note, during BTS's B press conference, Jin answered a question about military service with the same words he has always said repeatedly: I will enlist whenever the nation calls me. We have talked about this issue with the members, and we are all willing to serve.
So the bill has passed?
No, it is going to be passed, but there's...
How do they know it's going to be passed?
Oh, there's consensus on it.
Oh, so
the
public opinion within the National Assembly is approving.
Yes, also the government is pushing it too. So yeah, the president is approving it too.
Very positive, very likely.
Okay, anyways, what do you think about this law in general?
Don't hate me. It is a privilege, okay?
Is it?
To be able to go whenever you want, like later than normal, it is a privilege. But at the same time, I also think, you know, K-pop artists, a lot of them have won that privilege. They deserve it.
Yeah.
BTS for sure deserves it. So I have no issue with that itself. My biggest concern with this law is the potential of behind the doors deals. There's no firm standard on it. It's just like a recommendation from the minister.
Yep.
And I'm sure we're gonna see news about the minister recommending some group, and then people think that group doesn't deserve it, because this is not gonna be a BTS law. Okay, this is not gonna be BTS can go later, and then they're not going to recommend anyone else. Every year, they're going to recommend a new group.
Yeah, right? And it's probably going to be among the big 3.
Right. So I have a very strong feeling that this will invoke so many fan wars.
Yep.
And also potential corruption.
Well, I think it was a nice middle ground to start with, like this law, and it's a reasonable change to give delay until 30 years old, because like under current law, you have to enlist until 28.
Right.
So it's like two more years. And like if you think about it, like doctors, like lawyers or whatever, like researchers, they all get, you know, privileges.
Let's make things clear though. They go through special services. They serve longer as officers, and they do medical service in the military.
Right.
I think that's a little bit different.
But if you go on to athletes and classical musicians, they get like awards, and then they get exempt. So like it's different case by case. So if you were to compare it with all those cases, I don't think it's that much of a big privilege. I feel like they're testing the waters here to see the public opinion. Further on, I think they're gonna go towards exemption. But I feel like BTS earned their exemption, but now because like it's just a big leap to go to the exemption level, they're just postponing. Also, while I still do think the standards are a little ambiguous, I do think it won't be like all the Nugu groups or every single idol out there getting their recommendations from the minister or something. So I feel like it will be okay. You know, I haven't seen that much groups getting medals and awards from the Minister of Sports.
Who will get exemption after BTS?
Maybe
NCT? Maybe this is why SM Entertainment is like shoving everybody under NCT, because once NCT receives a recommendation, now like 50 people are
so that's gonna be another controversy, because
exactly. So like this is the issue. I think
issue here is another unfairness issue within K-pop.
Right.
and there's going to be constant comparing to BTS. So yeah, while I think it's an overall good step, there still is a lot of work to do on that standard thingy. But at the same time, I feel like other K-pop idol hubes that are training right now, they should really, really thank BTS, because for this case, I can confidently say, I usually don't like this word, but BTS paved the way.
Also, one last comment before you guys say, oh my god, like sports stars, classical musicians, they all get exemptions. This is not a privilege. Classical musicians and sports stars also should not get exemption.
It should go.
And actually, a lot of Korean people think the same. Popular opinion is not on the side that sports stars and classical musicians are these.
So actually, I read a column about this yesterday, and the history goes back to 1973 or something during the military regime.
Right. Yeah,
and in those days, you guys have to know the context. Korea was like a nugu in the whole world. Like, nobody knew. It was like Korea was desperate to get spotlight in the global community. They wanted to enter the global commissions and all that kind of stuff. They wanted exports, imports. They wanted the economy to thrive. And back then, military was a very, very serious thing because it was a military regime.
And also it was 3 years long.
Yeah. So back then, getting a medal in the Olympics was like people from a country that you've never heard of beat China, America, Japan in the Olympics and get that gold medal. And that publicity is the best publicity ever for a country. And back in those days.
I'll be honest though. Did you want to go to, Jamaica because of Cool Runnings?
No, but still, you know their existence. You know that a country exists, and that can actually make new business opportunities and also like make the reputation of your country.
At least you get some recognition from like a totally new country to being there on the map. At least that's what we like to think. I honestly think that winning the Olympics, in some random ass sport that no one really cares about. I don't think that really has any effect on brand recognition, name recognition, but we at least like to think ourselves.
But still, if you think about like one example of this era, Son Heung-min's son, he is like league number 1, scoring number 1. He's actually slaying the league, and people are just waving the Korean flag in England, in UK. That is definitely boosting our national reputation. People were racist over Asians. Now they can't be, because if they're racist over Asians,
I don't know if that's like really solving racism, honestly.
But still,
if sports stars, solve racism, sports stars excelling solve racism, why the is there Black Lives Matter in America?
I know.
Where LeBron James.
That's too
what are you talking about?
That's too extreme. It's helping. It's helping. It's called representation. Without that, it would be even severe. Because Sonny has that top spot in the EPL league. UK people can't look down on Koreans because they're benefiting out of them. They're getting the League Cup because of them. So because of him. So.
Very logical leaps there.
Because BTS is top on Billboard number 1. People know Korea. They learn Korean. They know.
Why is there racism when the top Billboard number 1?
Why are you twisting my words? I'm saying it's not a remedy. It's not a solution for racism. I'm saying it's representation. It's gonna help. Parasite helped.
Let's talk about this in the Patreon after show more.
Why are you saying it's like a 100% solution to racism? No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying it's just representation. It just helps to a matter.
Patreon after show. This is a show where we talk more about the topics that we discussed today, like whether or not LeBron James solved racism.
Hey!
Patreon after show goes on this time below, and we'll see you guys then.
Bye.